Hello, welcome to episode 6 of Into the Van. I'm Mike West. This episode is with Tom Ward. As a comic artist myself and a comic writer in the most loose term possible, I've brought out 2 anthologies with my friends under Cog Life Comics. But as someone who's brought out comics in the UK indie scene, you know, the network of people and the wealth of talent in that scene is just mind-blowing. And Tom Ward is one of these people that truly stands out in this crowd. He's had Merrick, the Sensational Elephant Man, as his standalone title, run a ton of successful Kickstarters and built a fan base and a following off of this one book and one character, and it's just developed. I think it's up to issues 12 now with the most recent Kickstarter, and it's truly an amazing feat. So not only am I a fan of the book, but also his insights into Kickstarters and crowdfunding and building a fan base through those ways is really interesting. So whether you're a musician looking at crowdfunding your next album, whether you're a comic artist or a comic writer wanting to do it, whatever you want to do to build a fan base and most importantly cover costs. As a musician, I've always managed to keep my costs down by either selling comic books that I collect, artwork, and then it'll be pre-orders and things like that that'll help try and make me at least break even. So there's a ton of different ways you can create things and manufacture them, and yeah, there's going to be a cost involved, but if you can somehow downsize that cost through pre-orders or crowdfunding, why not? In this day and age, you know, everyone's independent, everyone's struggling, no one's getting that type of major label help anymore. So you really need to look at unique and interesting ways in how to bring in this money and minimize the risk for yourself. And I think that's something that not a lot of people want to talk about, because everyone has this idea of musicians as being the artists, the tormented souls who are only there to create art and music. But if you want to get your products at the end of the day into the hands of people who will dig it, you need to create physical products and you need to be able to market those things. And unfortunately, in this world, there's a cost involved in that. So to sit down with Tom was really interesting to talk about the comic industry as a whole. There's been some fluctuations in that due to the COVID crisis with the way Marvel and DC have handled it and how they've been in trouble themselves. So you see more major artists and writers actually going to the crowdfunding platforms, which is a really interesting thing to look at. So me and Tom chat about that. Tom is a really interesting guy. He's really opinionated in all the right ways. He believes what he says and says what he believes, and that is something to be admired. Merrick, the Sensational Elephant Man, you can get the first copy digitally for free if you go over to merrickcomic.co.uk, MERRICK comic COMIC.co.uk, and you'll be able to get the first one free, see how good a book it is, and then you can pre-order a trade paperback from it. You can buy the single issues, and it is really worth your time and energy. As a comic fan, I always try and push comics to people who may not be a fan of them. There's such a rewarding experience. If you like reading books, if you like watching films, there's a comic out there that would suit you. I know a lot of people say it's not for me. That's because, you know, the Avengers and the Marvel Universe has been this massive cultural shift, and a lot of people still think that comics is superhero based, which, you know, a lot of it is with Marvel and DC. But with the independent publishers or the smaller publishers like Image or IDW, there are so many incredible titles out there that you will definitely find a comic that you'll fall in love with. This episode today is brought to you, of course, by me, Mike West. The pre-orders for The Next Life have been really amazing. I've been so thankful for people who have pre-ordered and put their trust in me. I'm currently waiting for the test pressing, which should be with me at any point at the beginning of June, which I'm so psyched about. And to actually get to have a physical copy to play is going to be fucking unreal. If you'd like to pre-order and want a sample, I'm going to put a track now.
What if we never walk? What if we stay? What if we spent our life in a world we made? What if we slept all day and loved all night? What if we ran away to a peaceful life? All I'm asking, all I wonder, all I'm saying is don't go.
And I really hope you dig it. If you want to pre-order The Next Life, you can go over to mike333west.com/store. That'll take you to my Bandcamp, and then there's a ton of different options and bundles that you can pre-order The Next Life. There's including vinyl, CD, digital, all the formats. I've got you covered. So, Tom Ward, the comic rebel of the UK industry. This is a really interesting chat about crowdfunding, comic books, music, everything else in between. I love chatting to this guy. He's been a wealth of information and just such a friendly guy at Comic Cons and whenever we've met. And I really hope you get something out of this, whether you're a musician, an artist, whatever you want to do. This is the podcast for you. So, Mike West and Tom Ward, into the van we go. Welcome to Into the Van with me, Mike West. Go! Cool. So I've hit record now, so all socio-political and Marxist comments are off the table now.
Let's keep it above board.
But how long's left on the Merrick Kickstarter now?
52 hours.
52 hours.
So yeah, Saturday night, 8 o'clock it finishes. So yeah.
So this is gonna come out in June. So will it be available to buy outside of the Kickstarter once it's finished?
Yeah, the minute the Kickstarter finishes and I get the files off to the printer, Rich, I tend to put like a pre-order up on the web store.
Oh, cool.
Which is www.merrick.co.uk. So you can just kind of pre-order, and then that stuff goes out with the Kickstarter orders.
Yeah.
Just, you know, if you don't want to sign up for Kickstarter, you can just kind of like buy stuff through PayPal or whatever.
Oh, awesome. I'll put that as a link because I did a podcast with John Slater, like my mate from Cog Life, and we were talking about you because there's this issue on Twitter now, and there's this debate about like the comics industry dying because of like Diamond like going under and the big two being under pressure. But I was saying it's the same thing as if like punk can't die as long as there's some kid playing a guitar in his bedroom.
Yeah, of course.
So like the comic industry isn't going to die. It's just going to change in a way. And we used you as a prime example of that because you've created this following through this book that you've completely independently published and created.
Thanks, man. That's like, it's high praise. Like, but I mean, just say when I was a teenager, man, and Napster came out and people were like, oh, Napster's killed the music industry. It's like, I mean, look, music's bigger than it ever has been. Like, surely, like the internet, it as far as I can tell, it just kind of levels the playing field a bit. You don't need to be in the know or know someone or have the kind of capital to kind of get yourself noticed and have the kind of marketing budget and PR. You can just do it from the grassroots, can't you? Like Diamond going under, like it just means there's only one distributor. It's not there. Like you can still distribute books yourself. Like you can still send books to shops. You can still send it straight to customers. It's it really doesn't affect anything. It's like, I think so when you see people talking, they talk about when they talk about comic book industry, it is like they're talking about the music industry to me. And it's like when people start trying to talk to me about like the big two and Diamond and all that, it's like it is trying to talk to like the Descendants about like the latest kind of like Boyzone record or something. It's like it's a completely different thing, isn't it? It's when you do things independently. I'm so unconcerned with like the main way of doing it because it's so far away from what I'm doing. It just doesn't affect me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a lot of people are like it's the end of comic books, and it's just they're the same people who think that like it was the end of the music industry when it came about because they only listened to the mainstream bands. But if they scratched the surface and actually did not even a deep dive, but they just looked outside of their own arse, they'd see what was available to them already. But with Merrick, so let's go through your origin story and how Merrick came about. Because is this 9 and 10 or is it no one's a double figures?
9, 10, and 11. But we've also done the crossover issue and the Treves one shot, which is kind of like a double length. So although it's got kind of double digits on the cover now, we've kind of been in double digits for a while, but it's nice to kind of officially be there as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I've got the trade, and I've got the last 3 issues, which I think goes up to 7.
5, 6, 7. Yeah.
So how long? So when did Merrick start? What year did you guys put the first book out?
First book came out on February 2014. So it's been a while. Like we were working on that probably for a year before it. So I had the script ready for a while. I think it was the first kind of full issue Luke had done, and we were just kind of didn't put like a deadline or anything on it. We just finished it because I knew I wanted to just give it out for free as a free download. So yeah, we just got it ready, built the Kickstarter page because I'd seen Kickstarter, and it just really piqued my interest because I saw like the thing about comics as well is you can gauge the general quality of a comic just at a glance, which is probably the kind of media is best for that. Like you can't look at someone's prose writing and be like, oh, it's probably going to be good or it's probably going to be bad. You can't look at like a film. You can't really judge it, but with comics, I feel like you can really get a good grasp. And the stuff I was seeing on Kickstarter, I was just like, this looks great. It looks just as good as anything else. Like, it's awesome. Like, people are doing this. And I was just seeing other people, and I backed a few, and I got some good books. And I was just like, this is, like, I could do this. Like, I want to make a comic. This is the ideal way to do it. Like, why wouldn't I do this? Yeah. And so that was always the plan. Take it to Kickstarter, and I kind of did figure it would fail, and it was just like a bucket list item. You know, do a comic book, and I gave it out for free, get as many people to read it as possible, and like I was happy with that. That was cool. And then we got it in print, and then we did the next 3, and I was like, oh, this is wild, and just kind of just keeps going. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Nice. So where did you meet Luke? Was that an online thing, or did you meet him at a con, or?
Yeah, just writers seeking artist seeking writer kind of message, like common message board back in the day. I had someone else signed up for it, but they got picked up to do some like game design work or something. So they backed out, and I'd given them like a deposit, and then they gave me that back, and went separate ways. Like a bit of disappointing, but at least it could have gone worse kind of thing. Yeah. At least I didn't have like half a book and like paid someone a load of money and then they just disappeared or something. So that was good. And then I had all the scripts done, and it just kind of put me off a little bit. I was on a bit on the back burner, just kind of doing other things. And then I just saw Luke kind of posting his portfolio to other people's ads. So I'm just like, this guy would be perfect for this. Send him an email with like, it's just like a little bit of a pitch. Like, I've written this. It's kind of like this. Like, I think you'd be cool for it. Do you want to have a look at the script? Like, I kind of wanted to take it to Kickstarter.
What was the initial pitch? Because I know if people are listening to this and aren't familiar with Merrick, what would you describe Merrick as? Or what was the initial pitch you pitched to Luke?
I can't remember what the original pitch would have been. Probably been along the lines of kind of like a pulp reimagining of the Elephant Man as a superhero, but not like a superhero. So kind of using the same conventions as like superhero comics, but turn it into like a Victorian kind of pulp. More like an old school kind of thing than kind of what we think of as like modern superhero comics now. I think now we kind of like lean more into like almost like, I want to say like Bronze Age kind of superhero comics kind of thing, mixed with like the kind of pulp Penny Dreadful vibe that we got going on.
Yeah. I know it gives me like Tales from the Crypt, kind of like when DC and stuff were doing like that 70s horror.
There's definitely like a horror vibe. It was always supposed to be like, we kind of moved away from that, but it was like a horror pulp adventure. I just wanted everything that I liked in it. And now we've got to the point we've done so many issues, like we've kind of gone in different directions and done different things. So you can do a bit of horror, or you can do a bit of this or a bit of that. And I think that's the fun now, is because we have got like the fan base now and the kind of back issues and whatnot, that we can go in different directions, and we've got like a world that we can tell stories in rather than just limited to one story. So it's quite fun. Like, we can do anything. We can do like a horror story, we can do just like an adventure story, a mystery, like a detective thing. We can just really mix it up.
Cool. And what books were you reading prior to writing Merrick? Were there any like main influences from comics, or was it like, did you draw from other places like film or prose, or
probably just like a big mashup of lots and lots of stuff. Comics wise, I was like really into. I was reading so much like Brian K. Vaughan stuff and Robert Kirkman. I was just reading, like, I just loved Runaways. I was just reading it all, like rereading it. Why the Last Man, Walking Dead. I was reading. I was well into all that. But I'd read so many superhero comics as well. You know, just over the years, you know, Spider-Man, Punisher. But weirdly, like, a lot of that doesn't really come into like what we've been doing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
There was one comic that was kind of like a touchstone point that like me and Luke could talk about, and it's an old issue of Legends of the Dark Knight. So I had it in a Batman, like trying to see if I've got it on my shelf. No, I can't see it. It's yeah, I didn't realize it at the time because I was kind of at a point where I didn't really put names to you know, writers or authors. I just kind of like the series, that kind of thing. But it's a Mike Mignola Batman story where Batman is investigating these kind of occult murders, and he catches the guy in the middle of this ritual, and stuff happens, and he ends up in like a ghost world, in like a crypt.
Yeah.
And that just really stuck with me, and I think that was kind of like the vibe I wanted to go for, like kind of Victorian crypts and like, you know, weird Victorian magicians and wizards and secret societies and stuff. And obviously Luke's a massive Mike Mignola fan, so he knew exactly what I was talking about straight away, and he was like, oh yeah, I really like that issue. Like actually the cover to Treves is actually a bit of a that's, you know, our kind of take on it. I'm trying to think. It's Legend of the Dark Knight issue 77 or something. It's a great single one. Got it somewhere, but yeah, I'd recommend checking that one out. That was probably like our touchstone of everything. But other than that, you know, Indiana Jones is like a huge kind of influence on it. That kind of the world beneath the world that most people kind of don't know about, and you know,
it's weird. Like, I've been thinking about this. It's weird that like I kind of think Indiana Jones is an underrated like film for what it is, because I know it's obviously Harrison Ford and it's like the peak of his career, but there's a lot of story and subject matter and how it's done that was really influential, but it kind of has been not overlooked, but kind of not given its due in terms of its aesthetic and things.
Yeah, like it's huge, but like it's still underappreciated.
Yeah.
Like when you watch them films, like if you try and list off the story beats in like an Indiana Jones film, holy fucking shit, it's like stuff. Like Temple of Doom starts off in like a Chinese restaurant in a casino or something with these mobsters, and then they escape and get on a plane, and then there's a plane crash, and then they see these people in a village that tell them about this like cult, and then they end up in and that's like 10 minutes into the film. It's insane.
Yeah.
Well, like that, I always think about that now as well. Still, when I'm doing stuff, like that's the level of kind of stuff I want in an issue and in a book, because like you watch films these days, you don't get that. Like there'll be like a few beats. Yeah. Like I want like beat. And then
and I think that's what I love about like Indiana Jones, and there's like the old Hammer horror and like the old B movies where like the Incredible Shrinking Man, he gets hit by the like the powder or whatever in the first 5 minutes, and they don't ever explain what really happened to it. They just go, this is what's happening, roll with it. And a lot of films, they need to, like, they always think they need to explain it, so the first hour is leading up to what's actually going to happen. Well, and that's what I try and do with comics and things, is it's just like, just straight away get into it and get the action rolling.
Yeah, I think that's my personal, I would say my style's got like more compressed as we put out more issues. Like the first issue story arc was like 4 issues, and now I think I would compress that down even further, because I think I was kind of probably influenced by the comics I was reading at the time, was all stuff where it's like 6-issue story arcs and it's kind of written for trade, and like that's fine, but like when we're paying for everything, you know, we're kind of, you know, self-funding it and stuff. Yeah. It really is important to just get as much as possible on the page. Like I just want to be as economical as possible, to the point where everything's just like, I want everything to have a point to it. There's there's no filler. I just want it to be like bam, 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 and that way we can get more issues out. We can get through more story. I've got like an over arc for this. The more like issues we put out, and the more kind of we were building the following, and the Kickstarters were happening, it was like more and more likely we were going to keep going. I was like, I want to get to the end of this now. Yeah. Like it's not just something like, okay, cool, like we did that was awesome, and it is. but like it's like it'd be really awesome to get like
to stick the landing with it.
Thing, yeah, exactly. If we could get to like 30, 40, 50 issues, have a whole over arc, like that'd be wild. So by getting more in, obviously we can't produce 12 issues a year. So the more we can put into an issue, the more story ground we can cover, and we can kind of get through it, which is not rushing, but just making it as compressed as possible. And obviously people get more value when they're buying a comic as well, rather than just like flicking through it in 5-10 minutes. It's like, you know, you've actually got a bit of substance to it.
Yeah, what's the page length? Is it 28 or 30 pages?
Depends. Depends completely. Issue to issue, we change it because we can. Like issues 5 and 6, that story arc, it could have easily been 3 issues, but it would have been like 3 issues with filler. So I did 2 32-page issues, and then like the kind of, because the thing about comics that I really like is like the episodic nature of it. And the ongoing nature of it. So I think the like the little cliffhangers at like an end of an issue is super important to me. I always think of stories in terms of like the opener and the closer, and throughout that arc I'll think, oh, this is a great opening, this is a great close, and I want that at the end of an issue, because don't want to spoil things, but like issue 7's got like a great end. It comes into like a great end for like issue 8. So I was like, when I knew this story, I was like, that has to be the end, and this has to be the beginning. So yeah, like the Netflix shows change TV where they can just do whatever length they want. It's like, I'm not bound by the rules of anything else, so we can just do whatever fits.
That's so good, and I think that is such a great example of what the comics medium can be, because people can do just single page comics that can have an emotional weight, and then the same thing can be done where it's like, well, I can do any length I want to tell the story I want to do, and it's just this like pretty much limitless format, a limitless medium that I really enjoy.
Yeah, it's the challenge of fitting yourself to you know the same issue length every month. It's got to be tough. Like that's a real skill for the guys who can do that and fit it. You know, your publisher says you got this many pages for an issue, this many pages for the trade paperback. Like that's what you're doing. Like that's a skill to be able to land all that. But for us, I'm happy for every issue to be a different length, every paperback collection to be a different length, because why not? Like, there's nothing holding us back on that.
Yeah. So what's your writing style and your process for Merrick? So you say you've got an overarching plan, but then does that change, and how would you go about writing the issues themselves?
Mainly I think about story beats. So again, for the whole overarch, I had kind of different waypoints. So I had the beginning, a couple of other important things that need to happen, and the end kind of lined up. And then I break that down into kind of like what I think would be arcs. And then I break those arcs down into story beats, and then think about how they would fit in an issue.
Okay.
And then what I do is I kind of like break stuff down to pages. So I'll write 1 to 24, 1 to 22, whatever. And I'll put the story beats on each page, see how it fits, and then try and write around. Basically, I kind of just get the bare bones down, get a really good foundation, and everything else just fill in the blanks in between those kind of story beats.
Cool, man. So, like, because I was saying this, like, my kind of writing process for it, but I've not done nearly as many issues or as length as you. Is what I kind of do is I do bullet points, and then those bullet points like numbered, so they're the pages, and then I'll go in and break that down and try and incorporate to make sure page turns count. So it's like the different reveals and things, and it's a really interesting way that people do it between like the planners and the overarching things to actually breaking down an individual issue.
Yeah, that's almost exactly what I do. I before I even start writing, I'll set a spreadsheet up, and I'll put the page numbers, obviously, and you'll be able to see which is a left side, which is a right side, and then I'll put which beats I want in each cell in the spreadsheet. And I often write like completely like non-chronologically. So I won't start on page 1 and work my way through to the end. I'll kind of look at the spreadsheet, look at the beats, and I'll be like, well, what kind of scene am I excited about? Like, I'll write that, and then the more clear I can kind of visualize it in my head, I'll get that down, and I'll get it down, and then I'll be like, right, cool, and then I'll colour that little cells in green, and then I'll move on to the next one. And if I get halfway through a page, I'll make it orange, and then I'll just keep cherry picking. And then I find I'm not just staring at a blank page trying to figure something out.
Cool.
The more I get done,
yeah,
the easier the rest is to fill in, because that'll often lead to more ideas. And it makes it easier. I don't ever get stuck that way, or that's the plan. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes you still get stuck.
Yeah. And have you had the ending like written or planned? Like, do you know where you're going to be landing throughout this, or has it changed at all through your writing process?
The ending's very solid,
Mm.
but there's space to stretch or compress kind of thing. So we have had different ideas. Like, I think the one we're on now was just, as I was writing the other stuff, I was like, oh, this would be great. And, you know, I've got like a sliding scale of stuff. I can't put extra stuff in, or I can probably sacrifice some stuff, but there's a few things that need to happen, and the rest is like, I can just play with it in between.
Nice.
But yeah, I always write for full story arcs as well. I know a lot of people write like an issue and just get the artist going and then move on to the next issue. Like, that's crazy to me. Like, I'd be such a mess. I'd paint myself into so many corners. Like, if I do the whole story arc, you know, I can put like foreshadowing in. If something, if I find something and it's like, oh, that's weirdly like symmetrical or something, I can work that into it. I can mold the earlier bits to fit the later bits, or fit the later bits to fit the other. So I kind of like to be able to take a step back and look at it as a whole before I send it off. Like, ideally, I'd probably write like everything, but like, I just don't have the time to do that. But like, if I did another long series, say I won the lottery and I wanted to do like another 40, 50 page series, I'd write the whole thing. And then think about getting art done for it. But,
cool, man.
I mean, it's probably not cool. It's probably like horrifically OCD or something. But like,
I think especially when it's like, it's one creative team. The thing obviously with like Spider-Man and Batman is there's so many creative teams that like swap and change that you can't really have this overarching thing without like one consistent editor for a long time. But to have such a like creator involved and create their own process, I think it lends itself to that type of format where it's not just OCD, it's like truly caring about how it's going to go and not letting other people kind of dictate what's going to happen.
Oh yeah, if you're doing just like one story, that's the thing with like a lot of mainstream comics and superhero comics, it's a bit like a sprawling mess. Like, everyone gets to add their bit and it just kind of grows outwards and bigger and bigger and bigger. But with like the image books, it's like it's more like a straight line, isn't it? Like, it's kind of one direction and one creative team, or like, you know, there's generally going to be a leader on the directive team, because artists can change or writers can change or whatever, but there'll be like a definite direction. So it's a bit more like going one way rather than just growing. Which, like you say, it's just a different thing. It's just a different vibe.
Yeah, definitely. And with it being kickstarted, and obviously you tailor conventions and things, what do you think the percentage of your audience has come from which? So do you think you've got a bigger Kickstarter and online following to conventions, or do you think you pick up more people at cons?
Probably a bit of both, to be honest. When I do cons, I do get a lot of people who come up and just say, oh, I got the book on Kickstarter, like, I really liked it. And it's really nice that they you know, go out the way and take that time to come and tell you that you enjoyed it. I think the paperback, once we got to the first paperback collection, that made conventions so much easier, because it meant we were in for a chance at actually covering our costs or even making a little bit of money. That was just up to then. It was just selling single issues at a convention. It's fucking hard work. Like,
it is.
And it's almost impossible to cover your costs unless you've got, I'm guessing, a lot. But once you go to paperback, I think people, it's different kind of readers, aren't there? And a lot of people go to a con, they see one paperback and we charge a tenner, and that's just an easy buy for a lot of them.
It is.
So I'm looking forward to getting the second paperback out, because hopefully I'll do another round of conventions and that'll just kind of go out.
Yeah, having a volume 1 and 2, because I think that is the risk with kind of Kickstarter comics and those small press things, is it can be a great issue 1, but again, if it's only, you know, 30, 50 pages at maximum, you're only getting half a story or like a fifth of a story. And then it's like, well, when's the next one coming out? And it's like 20, 45 or whatever it is. And then it's taken so long. If you've got like a trade that you can just have straight away with like a good chunk of story, and it's so much better for a fan.
Definitely. And it's like you say, so many books, they'll just be a 1 and then that'll be it.
Yeah.
And like, it's hard to make a comic. It really is. Like, it's hard to make a single comic. And then once I think people have more, you know, when you got more, people are like, oh, there's 2 issues. Oh, you see it as you put out more books, and the reaction is like, people are like, oh, 1 comic, and then they'll be like, oh, 2, oh, 3. oh, this has got 4. Oh, there's a book. Oh, okay. And it's almost like, because other people had faith in you to do that, you get like a bit of a snowball effect. Other people become interested. I certainly hope that's the case on Kickstarter. You don't see many comics up to like issue 10 or 11.
No, it definitely gives it like that sense of legitimacy to it, and that like weight to be like, oh, these are properly invested in this story, in this arc. It's got to be good to get to 12 issues. Yeah,
and there's going to be a payoff. Hopefully, people think, because I always try and keep each arc I try and keep it so that if something did happen and we didn't make any more issues, like each. Because we do it by arcs, it's like at least you get a nice story. Like the whole thing might not finish, but like that was fun. This was fun. That was fun, and you can enjoy it like as its own sections as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And do you have anything like in the event of your untimely demise that it gets released, so you've got an ending to it?
Oh, should I do that? Like I've got like just random scraps of papers, like just everywhere, like old napkins folded up, like just notebooks scribbled in of just like the ravings of a madman. Should I put it in my will? Like my girlfriend has to release this to the world.
Just schedule a post and keep moving it back every month or whenever to just be like the last page of the book.
Yeah, the final page of script, I'll put it on a kind of time post on Facebook or something. Yeah.
Well, with Kickstarter, you're one of the most, not like vocal, but you're a massive supporter of Kickstarter. What do you think is the key to running like a successful campaign and actually getting people to get involved and engaged in supporting a new book?
Right. So I like so many people at cons, especially, will ask about this, and like I'll always tell them the same thing. Like I think Kickstarters, you don't have to overthink it. Like it is quite simple. Like I think there's only a couple of things that can genuinely, I believe, can make any book a success on Kickstarter, and that's like have a good quality book, like have it looking good, as good as you can get it. Like don't like get if your lettering looks a bit, get a letterer. It's worth the investment. Have a realistic goal. Like when I look at a Kickstarter page now, I genuinely can tell if it's gonna make it or not. And like first one is if someone goes, oh, take a look at my Kickstarter, and it's like £40,000. It's like it'd be nice, but you probably ain't getting that. You're certainly not getting it on your first one unless maybe you've got an incredible book and it just hits the right retweets and the right people see it. Like maybe, but like I wouldn't bet on it. Reasonable priced books. So I think like when you see people are doing it, aren't they? Like you see like the Indiegogo guys and they're selling a single issue of a comic for $25.
Yeah,
and like
it's ridiculous.
That is wild to me. Like I don't know how you could do that to like fans or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy to me. And people go, well, it works, and it's like it does work, but I'm trying to sell like 10 issues of my book now. Like,
yeah,
no one's gonna buy 10 comics for $250. Like. It's not. Well, it's not. That's at $10. It'd be $500. Like,
yeah, it's not sustainable.
Exactly. So I genuinely, the cheaper the better. Like it's nice to get money, but why work so hard on something
for no one to see it?
Like that's the heartbreaking thing, in it. If you go to a con and you see some kid with a book and they've like fucking sweated over it, and they're like, "Oh, I don't believe in digital comics because someone might pirate it and it's £10." It's like. It's a lot of work for not many eyes, isn't it? It's crazy.
that's the thing, man. And I kind of view it as the same as music. It's like if they truly believe in it and they truly want to support you, they'll buy it, because it is always people buy people. So if and that's what I really like about you. Put your first issue out for free, and it's still free to download on your website.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. Was another point is if you can do that. Like I would attribute so much of our success to putting that first issue out for free, because it's like I said before, you can kind of judge a comic at a glance, but you can't really know. But like it might look great, it might seem really cool, but if you can read the whole first issue, you've got an idea. Is the writing any good? Is it ticking the boxes of the things that I'm into? You get a better, fuller picture. Just things like if you can read a full issue and it's not riddled with spelling mistakes, and like some people, like, it's crazy to me that they don't seem to proofread their books and stuff. And it's like, if you haven't taken the care, if you've taken the care to do it, and people can see that you've taken the care to make this thing as good as you can make it, then they'll have faith in you to not fuck up the rest of it. Like, if you're not going to spell check your script, like, holy shit, are you going to be able to send the files to a printer and not have it like turn up completely wrong? Like, so yeah, like putting the book out for free was a big thing that I would say. And if I could do every book for free online, I genuinely probably would. But like, yeah, we are funding it ourselves. I do pay Luke a page rate and pay Mika a page rate, and obviously the printers and so much of it just goes to postage straight away. Like, so much of it goes to postage straight away. It's wild going into the post office with like a drop and go card and being like, could I load £1,000 on that? And then they're just like, well, there's an £800 limit. It's like, well, I'll be back tomorrow then. Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, if you're an artist and if you're like one person making a book and you know you make it in your spare time, you got a job or whatever, if you can put your first issue out for free, shit, you got so much of an advantage on everyone straight away, because it's so much easier to say I made a comic, it's free, check it out, than it is to say I want to make a comic and I have some money. Like, that's the difference, really. Like, you're offering something rather than asking for something.
Yeah, definitely. I've always kind of viewed this with my music where it's like, if it's digital, I don't really give a shit about the price of it, because to me it's not really real. It's like, it's just files on the ether, so I'm happy to send it to people as what they want. That's why like my first EP and everything's free, just because I like to be like, the only thing this is going to cost you is 17 minutes of your time, and it's a digital file anyway, so it's not going to impact me in any way, shape or form. The physical copies are where I need to kind of recoup my costs back. And it's really interesting to see how people still hold on to that digital thing. It's even on like Comixology and like the main comic book, like digital things, where they're still trying to push the same price as a physical copy.
It's wild to me, like Comixology trying to charge you $5 for a digital comic. Like, I assume you would make 100 times more sales if you were charging £1. Like, and especially something like this, where like you want to get your fan base as big as possible. Like, it's better to have 100 people paying £1 than 50 people paying $5 short. Like, it's crazy. Whatever. Like, and it was the thing you see people so worried about, like on the internet, like, well, people might pirate it. It's like, yeah, they might, but like, they might like it and buy your book. I don't know. Like, it's not really a concern that I have.
No, piracy is like a really like double-edged sword, because it's kind of like, people have worked on it, money's been put on the table for it, and people have invested. But would you rather, like, it's like what you've been saying, it's would you rather put all this money and time into something and no one see it? And then if one person pirates it, shares it, and word of mouth comes down the line, then is it kind of worth that breach of like the piracy and copyright and things? And it's not obviously not advocating piracy as a musician, because it's seen what Napster and everything did to the industry back in 2000s. But their ineptitude in reacting to that and seeing what was coming is almost as much of to blame as the actual thing itself.
I mean, I've got like a big CD collection. I've got a big CD collection. I've got a big record collection. I've got like, I spend a lot of money on music. Like, I go to a lot of gigs, go to a lot of festivals. I got into music from Napster. Like, that's I wouldn't have even found out about half the bands existed unless I was on the internet. Like, because at the time, I think some of the people making this argument sometimes don't remember the world pre-internet. Like, if you could only hear what was on the radio or see what was on the TV, you're only getting what's like getting fed to you. And when I was a kid, I was like, this is shit. And then like I heard like a couple of bands, and then I was like on Napster, I was like, oh, this is cool. And then you find something else, and you're like, oh, this is cool. And then, oh, I like this kind of music, or I like this. And then before you know it, you're like, I'm gonna buy all this. I've bought the same, like, I've downloaded records when I was a kid. I've bought them about fucking 4 times since. Like, every release they put out, like, go and see the bands like 20, 30 times. Like,
I remember doing this. I had like this Dead Kennedys track that always cut out 30 seconds at the end, because the LimeWire seeder or whatever had cut off being able to download it. So I had like a load of songs that just had the ends missed. So then I had to buy the records to know how the fuck the song ended.
Nice. But yeah, I discovered so much stuff like that. And obviously Spotify and stuff is kind of like that now. It's a way for people to discover things. And that really, I do think it levels, like, obviously it's shit that Spotify are making so much money because they're getting a little. It's almost like legalized piracy, isn't it? They're taking like a little bit of cut of every download, and they're giving a little bit to the artist. But because they're getting a bit from everything, like it all adds up to be. It's like the plot from Superman 3, is it, where they get the remainder on the on the money, and that's why they're making money, and they should be giving that back more to the artists. But the fact that you can get, like, anyone can just share the music, and anyone can just listen to it. You don't have to get it on the radio or something. It's got to be a big help, hasn't it? That you can just send a Bandcamp link or a Spotify link, and people can listen to it and see if they like it.
Especially since you can link kind of like your page and things to Spotify now, so it's like it is just another promotional discovery really, as opposed to where you should really consume your music. But like, because I've found so many great bands from it, and it's also I've found bands to not waste my time with, because it's like, oh, these might be good, and then I'll listen to them, like, no, it's okay.
Yeah,
skip that one.
It really does. It means your album's got to be good. You can't just have like a couple of good singles. Like back in the day, you're like, oh, I like these singles, and you get like the album, and you're like, oh, like, bit shit. Now you can listen to the whole thing and be like, oh, great. But it's just a way to feed stuff to sell like nicer items as well. Like, I think it's probably helped vinyl sales, hasn't it? Because you get like a nice item. You like the thing, so you're willing to spend the money on like the nice put together item, and you get gig notifications and like you say, as a PR tool in it.
That's like, there's so many things you can always pull apart different parts of like mediums and things to see how people are going to consume it. And there's always things you can take issue with. But I think if you're just passionate about what you're creating and you just want people to give a shit, then you should just be on as many things as possible and be willing to take a bit of a hit to just keep on going and keep on creating and getting it out there. It's a really weird situation everything's been put in, because it's always the middleman making the money. So the artist and the consumer have just this weird relationship. They're just kind of like hoovering everything up in between.
Have you read? Have you seen Panel Syndicate?
No.
Brian K. Vaughan's digital comics thing.
I've seen it, but I haven't.
He put Private Eye out on it, which is brilliant, and all the books on it are on they're like kind of pay what you want, so you can put like $0 in, or you can put £1 in. You can put whatever you want in. But there's just a new one launched this weekend or last Friday. I haven't read it yet. It's the new Ed Brubaker book, Friday.
Oh
yeah. Buy it now, pay what you want. I think it's great.
Like, that's kind of like the Bandcamp model, because if you put in just pay what you want, then you will get more of a return from the people who like care, and it's such a great accessible way. And it's even like, I follow a few Instagram comics. Obviously they're all free, but they have a PayPal link, and I'll kick in if you
kind of situation.
Yeah, there's so many like different mediums. It's again because of people have been dealing with Diamond and kind of ingrained in this mentality. There's so many different ways to break in and create something and get it out there without having to follow what's been before.
I think too many people worry about the industry side of things and like the industry model as it currently stands, rather than thinking about all the way around it. Like, I think I read, I can't remember who it was, that someone was writing like the realities of like an image book, and it was like they were getting like 5 cents on the cover price or something for the creative team, and it's like, that's terrible, dude. Like, if you kickstarted that and just sent it out yourself, you would get a lot more and need to make a lot less sales to get the same kind of amount of money. Do you know what I mean? And like, obviously you're getting the shelf space and the kind of brand awareness for your name, but at that point, like, it's wild.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't make sense, especially with like these creative teams. Like if Rob Kirkman and Jason Latour did like kickstarted the next trade of Southern Bastards,
could you imagine?
They'd make like so much, like not only money, but they'd get such a bigger audience, because worrying about shelf space is crazy in this day and age for physical shops.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I know people at that kind of level would be like, well, I've got better things to do than pack up like 20,000 packages, but like, you could just get someone else to do it. Yeah. Like, and you could just factor that into it, that you're going to pay a couple of staff members to just fire books out, and like, sounds like my time's virtually worthless, so I've got no problem sitting there packing books up. But it's crazy to me. Like, if it was the option between selling thousands and getting 5 cents, and everyone else is kind of looked after. And this way, where we kind of just send stuff directly out and covering our costs, and I can pay Luke and I can pay Mika, then it just makes more sense to do it that way to me. I think there's got to be like, there must be like a level that you get to when it's not viable anymore, and you have to, you know, make that huge jump up to use the kind of diamond distribution. But I reckon I could deal with 1,000, 2,000 easy.
Yeah. I think, especially like with this day and age, and like you've got like Postmates and all these other ways of like getting things out to people, distribution companies aren't what they need to be or what they have to be anymore. Like there's so many ways around things in this day and age.
I think the big thing that is the international stuff.
Yeah.
So like definitely like if Diamond, you know, they get your books on a boat and they take them across like kind of freight, which is something that maybe you could sort yourself.
Yeah.
Maybe it's impossible. I don't know. I haven't looked into it. And then have it kind of distributed from the US. That'd probably save you like a fortune. Like when we did the Merrick Dr. Crow crossover, I wrote it with Corey Freer, who is the Dr. Crow creator. And what we did was we printed it over here. I sent half the books over in just one kind of courier ship package, and then he distributed them, and that saved a fortune.
Yeah.
So like I could definitely see the kind of advantages of having like a depot in each region, like, and that's something I'd be thinking about looking into. Like maybe even I've considered getting like a cheap flight to America and just taking a suitcase full of books and then send them out separately when I get there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because when you're sending out packages and it's like 10, 15, 20 quid to send some books to America, like I can fly to New York for like 200 quid.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
I could easily take 10 packages with me and then, you know, post them when I get there. Like
yeah, it's like even with like music, I've seen a few different people who have been like touring and things, and they'll have like whoever their tour manager or whatever for the UK, they'll just give all their merch to them and then be like, okay, now we've got a UK store, and they'll do the same in Europe and stuff. And it makes so much sense, but I don't think people kind of plan that far ahead or anticipate that level of demand. But even just having that in your back pocket's super helpful.
I think that will probably start popping up with more people going to crowdfunding and them getting bigger. I think there probably will. I know in America there was a few distributors, weren't there, and there were printers that were handling that kind of thing. We're cracking print doing that, but they went under like last year.
I think so.
You know, I'm sure there was a few people, I'm starting to look into it, where you'd just be like, okay, we'll deal with your entire kind of fulfillment of your Kickstarter, obviously for a cut, which is either reasonable or not reasonable, depending on whether you can do it or you can't do it. But I think other people might start popping up, because you see some of them are huge now. Some Kickstarters just like, especially more and more like established people, like Todd McFarlane's doing like a new Spawn figure, isn't he? He's like blown past 1 million. Like once Todd's on there, like anyone could be on there doing books, and needs like a European distribution or Australian distribution, American distribution. And I think that definitely opportunity for people to kind of do that thing. Like if someone in America had a huge Kickstarter and contacted me and were like, oh, would you print it and post it out? I'd be like, yeah, sounds like,
yeah. I've offered that because like who I used to do my t-shirt printing and stuff, a few bands I know do, and he's just based in Liverpool. And I've just said to these American bands, look, if you get 100 of these t-shirts printed and sold, I'll happily post them out, because it's all just like, it's still getting out there and it's still helping these like creators and stuff keeping on. But this reminds me, and I'm glad we segued into international, is you have somehow managed to transcend all borders and all areas with their Comic Cons by doing the Kitchen Con.
yeah. That's one way to put it. I couldn't be asked doing cons, so I just thought it'd be funny to do one in my kitchen. And like it's kind of crazy how big it's kind of grown. Like you did the last one. Like we had like 20 people did the last one. Like
it was really interesting, well, because again, I always like people who think outside the box and kind of anticipate what's happening. And you nailed it with the Kitchen Con, because you did it obviously before the pandemic hit, and you were doing this.
Yeah, I was doing it for like a year.
Yeah. So then this hit, and a few people have been like, "Oh, maybe we should do an online Comic Con." And I was just kind of like, looking at you as like this trailblazer who then was like, well, we've been like, it's been happening before.
I felt forced to do the last couple because, like, obviously I was doing it, and the people were like, "Oh, there's a pandemic, all the cons are closed. Are you going to do one? Are you going to do one?" I was like, "Yeah, I suppose so." And like, other people are doing it. Other people started doing it. You've got to do one. I was like, "Okay, we'll do another one."
So with the first one, was it like just out of like it's kind of like tiredness of doing comic conventions that you decided to do that? Or was it just?
Yeah, I think it was the same weekend as an MCM, and like I think someone said, "Are you going?" And I was like, "I'd rather be in my kitchen, mate." And so I was like, "Would it be funny to set up like my stuff and just like live stream it?" And I was kind of going for like a proper Curb Your Enthusiasm, like cringe fest for the first one of just me like just staring into the camera, just being like, "Oh God, this is awful." But yeah, it's quite fun. It's quite funny, and I do kind of like that because like when people are just like, "Oh, we need to get more people into comics, we need to get more new people into comics," and then I just find there's such a barrier to entry, especially like monetary.
Yeah.
And it's like, you want to get more people to comics, but you're charging like 20 quid to get into your convention or something. Like, it's wild. I really like the Lakes International Comic Con Festival just because you can go to the comic clock tower and go around and see the exhibitors for free. Because like, I'd rather pay more for a table and have it free for like people.
That's such like an invaluable kind of thing to have like a free entry thing, because that's what Oldham Comic Con did.
Yeah, that's Oldham Comic Cons. Like, that's exactly what you need. Like, because otherwise, you're just getting the same people who know they're into it, and they're coming in. And like, you want to get the people who don't know they're into it, and they want to have a try and see what it's all about. And
and that's the good thing about the Kitchen Con and these online conventions is, you know, there's so many overheads and not just creating the comic, but then tabling can be from like £60 to £80 to ridiculous money for the MCMs.
I think what's football now? Even that's like 100, 130, 140 or something. Like if you're selling your comics at like
£3,
£5 a pop, £3 a pop. It's a lot of comics to sell before you even broken even. That's before you even talking about travel, accommodation.
Hotel,
the fact that you printed those comics, so like 20 to 30% of what you sell them for, you're probably paid to make it, and then the time and effort you put into it. It just it's cons just started feeling like a zero-sum game to me.
That's what I was thinking. I was talking to John and Deck about it because we were doing a few when we went hard. I think it was 2018, and we went to a load. And it was we only had 2 issues of like an anthology out, so they weren't selling great. And it's just, why are we sinking so much time into it? Because it's just like a money sink. And that is money that you could then be putting towards creating the next project. And then with the Kitchen Con and the online comic, every comic you sell is then pure profit.
Exactly. And it's only taking an hour out your day. Like, cons are so time intensive that like, even if you make money, when you think about how much time you put into it, it's like, shit, man, like I could have just given this book away for free and gone and done a shift in like a bar or something, and I've moved more comics and got more money. Like, and that's what the thinking behind it was. If I sold one book at the Kitchen Con, that was like the equivalent of selling like 30 books at an actual con and taking me an hour out of my day. And also, I thought it was funny, and I still think it's quite funny.
Yeah, man, it's so good.
But it's nice to see other people getting involved, and I think that's the other thing. Like, it's free for everyone, so like exhibitors don't have to pay anything, so there's nothing out their pocket. Other people can just come and watch, and I think we've done like 4 now, and I haven't got through watching all the 4 ones because like it's like 20 hours of stuff to watch. But I think people who are kind of, I don't know what's the word, like people who are coming as like customers, say, let's say customers or not exhibitors, they're starting to get more involved and starting to ask more questions and stuff, and that's great. And that's one of the big things about conventions.
It's adding to the community elements of it.
Yeah, and it's letting you connect with people and seeing people who've done it, and like maybe you're interested in doing it, and you can kind of pick the brains a bit and ask them some questions. Because like, what can you do at cons? You can sell books, you can talk to people, and like you can network, and you can do all that on the internet. Like, I understand like back in the day before the internet, like portfolio reviews. That's a huge hugely cool thing to be able to do and be able to talk to creators. But like, you don't have to pay entry to do that now. Like, if someone's willing to give up an hour at a time, you can just talk to them. You can buy a book off someone. Like, if you go, like, it makes it better for everyone as far as I can see.
Yeah, it's just leveling the playing field again, and it's the people who are willing to put an hour down and just sit in front of it. I think I did 20 minutes because my phone kept crashed like 3 times. I was just I don't know what was happening. I've just had like a bad technical week for like the last 3. I've had a technical month, but the Twitter crashed, and I was just like, I can't do this. And I knew John was live streaming and doing his thing, so I was like, I'm just gonna like watch other people's videos for this now. But it's a nice little engaging thing that people can get behind. And I think at the moment the music live streams are so saturated that you can't.
Everyone's got an acoustic guitar and they're doing like covers, aren't they? And it's just like, oof.
Yeah. So the way that other mediums are bringing this in and doing like comic conventions online and things, it's such a great way to bring out the diversity of what you can do and promote yourself.
I really like about the Kitchen Con is like it's kind of really bringing out like a lot of creativity out of people as well. Like at a regular convention, everything's you can have your own flavor at your table, but it is very regimented. Like black tablecloth, black tablecloth. Like to see Gav and Emily doing the Kitchen Con nights where Gav's in like a fucking tux and Emily's got like a ball gown on and they've got like a disco light and like Italian disco playing while they're drawing and talking about their comics. Or like Joe Glass's one from Kitchen Con 4 that I watched last night, and he's got all this like face glitter stuff on and like just this insane glittery top and a big feathery coat. It looks like he's in like the BBC broom cupboard from like CBBC or whatever. Like and the other one, Mika, who letters Merrick, he did one, and his setup is huge. It was like it's giving you a chance to play with different things and really get like your personality and kind of like you make your comics and you make your book and you put that out there, but like so much of it as well is like the personality of the kind of creator. And if people can kind of see that and they go, oh, like this is my kind of vibe. Like, I feel like we're on the same page. And like, obviously not everyone's for everyone, but if you can connect with someone and be like, I'm going to check their stuff out. Like they seem like they're on the same kind of wavelength as me. Like it's cool, isn't it? It's like, it's giving everyone an opportunity to do something.
Yeah. It's so much fun. And I think it's just like, that's why I truly like about the comic scene. Obviously I was saying on the live stream, it's like I spend zero amount of time at the con. The second John sits down, I'm like, just let me know when you need a piss, and I just go off and like travel it around. And it's so nice to network and meet people who are passionate about it and creating things. I love comics. I haven't read. Like, I'm so far behind on what to actually read. Like my to read pile's massive at the moment, and it's just I'm looking forward to being able to take some time out to actually get behind and like read some books.
It's a good time for it.
Yeah, it is. I've got the new Saga volume. I need to reread Saga and then read the 3rd hardcover. I've got Wicked and Divine, and I've got a few indie things to read as well.
All of them, I think. Unless is the Wicked and Divine's finished, hasn't it?
Wicked and Divine finished. I've only got the 1st hardcover, so I need to get the others. So I'll go through those.
I think I finished it. Yeah.
Is it good?
Yeah. I don't want to give anything away. Yeah. Like I don't want to ruin it for you. No, it's good. It's good. It gets a bit like there was some of it I didn't gel with me that much. Like there's like an issue where they get the kind of Kieran and not get their mates to write like or like get his mates like interview him as he's the characters, which is kind of fun. But like, if I read it again, I'd probably skip over it.
Yeah, it's a fun little meta thing. Is there anything you're reading at the moment or anything?
I've just finished reading The Invisibles by Grant Morrison, all 3 volumes of that, which was pretty heavy. So I had a little break from comics, and I'm reading Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. You ever heard of that?
No.
It's a hefty kind of novel.
Really?
It's really good though. It's got a really nice writing style. Let's see who is it by. There was a BBC adaptation ages ago about these 2 like magicians. It's a novel by Susanna Clarke,
Oh,
Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. Yeah, it's really good. It's an alternative history set in 19th century England around the time of the Napoleonic Wars.
oh.
Its premise is that magic once existed in England and has returned with two men, Gilbert Norrell and Jonathan Strange. But yeah, that's like a 1,000-page book. So
Oh, really?
yeah, I'll be working my way through that. And I think I've actually got up to date with all my comics.
Cool. I recently read Man in the High Castle because I'd watched a bit of the TV show, so I got the book for Christmas and I read that, and that's for what it is and the premise of it. It's a really quick book. I think I finished it in like 2 flights.
I'm up for a bit of that. I want to watch the TV show. It looks quite cool.
Yeah, but I've been reading more like non-fiction stuff at the moment and been like dead, just like thinking, because it was after the election I bought a Blueprint for Revolution by this Serbian protester, and that's a really interesting book, and Utopia for Realists. But I do want to get back into the fiction kind of things. Have you read Stoner by John Williams?
No.
It's like this author, and like he died before that book kind of found its stride. And it's such a great book when nothing really happens. It's just like a mundane tragedy. I finished it on a plane to Belgium, and you know when you don't want to cry in public.
So you sat on the plane, just kind of.
Yeah, I just waited. I was basically the last person to leave because I was just getting my shit together. I was trying to like finish this book. That was a really great one, and it's just there's so many books out there now that are so good that I always worry I'm never going to be able to like finish them or even read them in the first place.
I've had like an insane kind of reading list of comics and books, and it's only just starting to feel like it's getting under control. But yeah, this 1,000-page Jonathan Strange is really knocked me back a bit because I was getting through them, and now it's like, oh, this is actually got to put some work into it. But yeah, I really enjoyed The Invisibles by Grant Morrison. It's quite heavy. I don't know whether I knew exactly what was going on all the way through it. Probably would read it again. But yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
I think I've got a few Kickstarter comics coming through. Umar Dither's Lad.
Yeah, I've heard
really through
about that. The thing is, I've been so skint for the last like few months. I've not been able to back anything for a while.
Yeah, I was like that for like the last year or so. So yeah, I'm just kind of getting back into it now.
So I'm dreading whenever the next actual convention is at Thought Bubble or wherever to start picking some actual books up again.
I don't think anything's gonna happen this year.
No, I think
next year.
Same. I think there's gonna be a pretty much because I've got a few gigs that are meant to be booked in for September, and it's kind of like, is it gonna happen? There was someone asked me if I wanted to do a festival in May, and I was like, no.
Yeah, we just got offered the gig in December, and like, I don't know, can't maybe it'll happen. Like,
yeah. But it's at the moment. I'm like, hopefully, like if you can't get a vaccine on the weekend.
Yeah, it's a shame, innit? Like, I've so many gigs and festivals and stuff cancelled now. It's great. I've got a festival in July, and they've still not cancelled it, and it's like,
really?
come on, guys! Like, we both know this isn't happening.
Yeah, because I've got tickets to see Rammstein in June, and everything else in June's cancelled, but Rammstein are just holding strong, and it's just like, come on, guys! And Bloodstock's meant to be in August, and that's still going ahead at the moment.
Yeah, I think a lot of them have got to wait for like their insurance policy to kick in, and they sort of probably have to wait until it's like within a certain period of time, and then they can cancel it. But it's just shit in it for everyone.
It is, man. So what's kind of on the horizon now? So the Merrick Kickstarter's got, is it 52 hours you've got left? It finishes on Saturday
Night, 8 o'clock. Yeah, 52 hours to go. Yeah. £5,349. Pretty good.
Nice.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So once that's Kickstarted, obviously it'll go to print, and then it'll be posted, and that'll take a while. So that
should be pretty fast.
Really?
Yeah. The art's completely finished for the next issue. The letters have been with Mika for like a week and a half. So I would kind of hope they'd be back before the campaign's finished, and we'll have all the file finished. So hopefully, fingers crossed, as soon as the money drops in the account, straight to the printers.
Awesome.
Get that one printed. I would hope at that point, Luke would probably have some of the art done for 10, because we've got like a nice kind of like head start now. So I think, unless the lockdown gets heavier and the post office closes down, I think everything will be out like easily, like this year, easily.
Mm.
But yeah, they shouldn't. I can't foresee any problems. Like the script's finished. Luke's like we got into like a really nice flow now. Like it used to take us quite a while to do issues, but like I think the more he's drawn the characters and like gets to know them, it becomes more like becomes easier, doesn't it? It's like you got like you flex those kind of artistic
like
muscles already. You get straight back into it. Obviously, every time there's like new characters and stuff, there's like a bit of design work and getting to grips with them, but with the kind of regular cast, it's just like he gets it down now. Like it's really good to see us get like a nice bit of momentum, because we stopped for a while, just like stuff came up and whatnot. But I'd really like to kind of maybe even get like a regular quarterly release schedule. And actually, I mean, it's a bit ambitious, but like that would be nice.
Do you like leave time between Kickstarters to try and give people a break, or is that just the way that like life happens and everything?
It's more just like life, yeah. Just I've had stuff on and not finished the scripts. Or to be honest with you, sometimes when I've got stuff on, it helps me finish the scripts, because like I've got so much to concentrate otherwise that like it's a real pressure to like get this done. And I don't know, some of the best stuff I've done has been like, you know, forced to sit there, like I've got to do this now and get it done. But yeah, I kind of, because we do the arcs and we send the books out, it's like almost like people are kind of jumping on like a little bit of a subscription kind of thing. So it's almost like they back it, and then I like to think they kind of forget about it, and then they get like a little comment comes through the post, and then like a couple months later they get like another little comment through the post, and like, oh, I forgot about this. And you know, hopefully like people are like, oh, I'm looking forward to this, and you know, it comes through, because it is one of the nicest bits is when, you know, stuff arrives and people like take a little picture of the book and tweet it to you, and like, oh, got this, looking forward to this, like I really like this. Like that's one of the best bits, isn't it?
Yeah, where
like,
people are like taking the time out to be like, oh, this is something I've actually been looking forward to.
I really like that. And it would be nice to like, I'm probably going to get a bit of a head start on the script, so I would hope by the time issue 11 gets out, that we'll probably have something ready to kind of get back on it. But we want to do the volume 2 trade paperback as well. So that'll be a Kickstarter, an opportunity for people who kind of wait for the trade paperback or prefer like the comics that way, which is sound, it's fine. So that'll be fun to have a second book as well. And then I've actually written like a full little mini series for like another spin-off, like in the Merrick world. That I'd like to do next, maybe. I just got a excited about it and just worked on that and finished it instead of what I should have been doing. So I just need to finish editing that, and that's like 3 or 4 issues. Like, it's hard to explain. It's like, you know, back in the day when they had like the seances and stuff, like, and it was a big thing, and there was a lot of like, there was like a lot of women who did this thing when it was like they could manifest like ectoplasm was like one of the big seance tricks, and it was often they like, I think some of it was like they eat tights and stuff and then like throw them up, and like it's pretty grim. I was reading a book about the life of Houdini. It's here actually, it's got all my notes in it. So Masters of Mystery, the strange friendship of Arthur Conan Doyle and Harry Houdini. Like, this is such a good book. Like, it's such an entertaining story to know that it's some of the best stories are real, aren't they? Like, that's a great story.
It's weird how the timeline is like, it happens because you kind of associate all these like historical figures as being separate from themselves. But Arthur Conan Doyle and H.P. Lovecraft did kind of like fan fiction of each other. And then Lovecraft did a story about Houdini, but then Houdini was like one of the like Conan Doyle.
He ghost wrote it, didn't he, for Houdini? But yeah, Houdini had a friendship / like they were kind of frenemies, I guess, with Conan Doyle, because like Conan Doyle like kind of went off the deep end and like got really into like spiritualism, and his dad, I didn't know, was actually in an asylum. His dad was like obsessed with like fairies and shit.
Really?
And and he'd done all these paintings and written this book about like fairy abductions and like a fairy world, and like obviously that was wild. And then Houdini was just like, you know, he was an escape artist and an illusionist and a very smart dude, and he got really interested in this kind of idea of like life beyond death and all this kind of stuff, and started investigating it. And he was just like, yeah, I've seen all these tricks in the circus, like this is not real, like this is bullshit. It's really fucking amateurish actually. And Conan Doyle kept trying to convince him. He's like, no, this one's real, and Houdini be like, is it? And at first they're like friends, but like as you go through this book, it's great. Like get towards the end, like they kind of hate each other because like like they just like like Conan Doyle just really wants it to be real, and he wants Houdini to admit that it's real, and Houdini's like, it's not real. Like I could do all these tricks, and just the characters that they get involved with, and the people running the seances and the mediums, it's just crazy. But anyway, one of the big things was this manifesting ectoplasm. So I've got a comic book character who kind of does that, and it becomes like a Victorian space adventure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. Like it's just cool. Like I'm looking forward to doing that. I'd like to do that next, and kind of expand what we're doing, because we've done kind of a few little spin-offs, and
like, that's so cool, man.
With different things, like
I like what you guys do, because it's still grounded in these people did exist. At one point, and it's grounded in, but it's taking like poetic license and liberties with things, but it's still got that real world weight to things. And I think especially there's so many historical things that are just batshit crazy. Like I'd love to see a mockumentary of Harry Houdini and Conan Doyle doing like a Most Haunted type deal.
That's exactly like what they were doing. Like I can't like read that book. It's so good. There's so many great bits in it. Like there's this society like of Conan Doyle gets involved with that are like they're trying to prove, they put like prize money to like prove that like the afterlife exists, and they go around and like they go around to this one medium, and they're convinced that like she's legit, and then Houdini turns up and he's like, she's naked and clearly sleeping with you all, like you're just saying she's legit. like he's like, what is wrong with you people? Like it's honestly hilarious. It's like one of the most entertaining things I've read in ages. I would definitely recommend checking it out, because their dynamic is just brilliant.
Oh, I'm gonna have to read that. That sounds so fun.
Yeah, legend. How like I want to get Houdini in the comic at some point, but I just kind of need the timeline to line
trying to
up.
work out. Yeah, that's so cool. And like, did Houdini? He died trying to do an escape, wasn't he?
He got punched in the stomach. Again, this book kind of gets into like there's like conspiracy theorists that these spiritualists sent this dude to rough him up, because he said he couldn't ever be winded because he had such like core strength. So this guy who was like an amateur boxer or something just kind of comes into his room, punches him, and it's like, oh sorry, and gets off. And he had like internal injuries that kind of killed him. Yeah, it's wild. But he had like a deal with his wife as well. Like he gave his wife like a secret like password, because he was like, all these people are going to try and contact me and say they contacted me from beyond the grave, and use it as evidence that like I was wrong in life.
Fucking hell.
So he's like, I'm going to give you this password, and like every year on his birthday, she'd do a seance and try to contact him. Like it's the whole thing's just, it's insane. It's great.
It's wild, man.
It's really good. It's really, really good. Definitely, if you get a chance to check it out, do it.
Yeah.
It's so entertaining.
That's definitely something I'll need to be reading. So for 2020, you've got the Kickstarter ending soon. Do you reckon you'll do another Kickstarter for 2020?
I hope we'd be able to do one more Merrick thing, whether that's either the next paperback or the next story arc or this other thing, which is, it's called Cosmic Lantern, but we'll have to see whether
get a cease and desist.
We'll see. We'll have to see. And then I've been writing something else for Johnny Cannon, who does the United. So we'll see if that happens or what goes on with that. But that is kind of very different. That's kind of like a council estate noir thing, like Green Room or Blue Ruin or Dead Man's Shoes.
Dead Man's Shoes and Green Room is so fucking good.
Yeah. So it's that, or Winter's Bone as well. That's like all the kind of thing, but like in a Northwest England kind of vibe. like proper. I wanted to lean into not doing American stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
like,
what I really like about like that's kind of like 2000 AD and like you and stuff. It's like British creators doing British projects, which sounds like a horrific slogan for people.
Yeah,
British creators doing British stuff, but it's always like with Dead Man's Shoes. There's a weight when you can see them going through a council estate where it just seems like more real.
Yeah, like it's almost like not leaning into like the Americanisms rather than doing the British thing for it's because you relate to it because you've lived it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like it like I wonder if that stuff translates like badly to like Americans because they just like it's a very different way of life and a very different vibe, and I don't know, think stuff gets so homogenized. I don't know whether people like realize that. You know what I mean? Like it's just not the same. Like although there's so many similarities, we speak the same language and we get a lot of the same stuff and we do a lot of stuff a lot the same way. It's still very different.
Yeah,
like.
Yeah, I'd both hate and I'd also love to see a Dead Man's Shoes remake in the States and see what they actually did with it.
Yeah,
because the story itself is phenomenal. I'd like to see how they translated it across. Yeah,
it might turn into like, remember when they did Shameless and they didn't quite get it, and it was like, oh, aren't they nice and lovable? And it's like, not really, they're terrible. Like they're supposed to be terrible. Like everyone knows these people that are like that literally are like that. It's not really comedy. It's just how it is.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. They try and keep it like heartwarming, don't they? And
they always need that like tearjerker moment at the end.
Yeah, but I like the idea of not trying to lean into writing all stuff in America because it's bigger market or whatever.
Yeah.
Like keep it kind of grounded to personal experiences and stuff.
Yeah, that's definitely, and I think that's kind of like with my kind of music's more like Americanized. Obviously, it's country music and stuff. There's a lot of things that I'll just like flat out like avoid. Like I hate when like, British artists are talking about riding a highway, and you're like, it's a motorway, lad. Like,
I've seen you post about this before. Yeah, it's like you don't want it. You got to do it with like a level of like sincerity to like, what your situation is, not leaning into like the cliches that have got no bearing on your experience, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. But we're wrapping up, and I think we'll call this time because I don't want to keep you too long. You've got a Kickstarter to promote that you do so well on Twitter.
Thanks. I need to push a little bit harder. Like we've done really well considering there's the pandemic. We're not kind of hit our normal numbers for backers, but that's to be expected. And I'm hoping like people kind of will, when this is all over and people are sorted out and they've gone back to work and stuff, that the store will kind of pick up the slack, or people will pick the books up next time. So I'm just glad that we can make some comics. Like
that's the main thing.
That's the main thing. Yeah, exactly. We got some new books out. It's cool. Like we got to issue 10. It's cool. Like I didn't think that'd happen.
Yeah, like, that's so good. Because even like I've just made like one book and like or like 2 books, and then it's like
it's hard, man. Yeah.
This is actually a thing that's happening. Like the level of pride you get from creating that thing. So you guys must just be on like another level with it. It's so cool.
It's a bit of a weird one. Like it does feel not real a bit at times. Do you know what I mean? I'm just being really happy with how it's come out. Like just wouldn't really change anything that we've done. Like I'm just really happy with our output, and when you look at it all stacked up, I mean, that's like that's
a chunk.
That's a lot of
so
books,
good.
Like, it's cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it means you got to have a room like this.
That's so many shelves.
That's the stock room, like don't know if you could see that. So yeah, it's going to be like the next month or so. It's going to be very much like a production line in my back room, like envelopes, bags, boards, addresses.
Yeah. I've got this pre-order, and I'm getting 300 vinyl and 300 CDs sent out to me, and I'm trying to still work out how many 300 vinyls is to like count like what my collection is, to be like, is this that amount, or is it going to be bigger, or what the fuck, where it's going to be a space.
Yeah, I remember when we got our first trade paperback delivered. We got 1,500, and like the guy just dumped a pallet outside, and I was like, "Oh shit, what have I done?" Like, like that's a lot of books.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Are you selling your vinyl through the Bandcamp? Is it Friday with the no fees?
Yeah, Bandcamp is waiving all fees. It's doing it for a fair few months, I think. It's doing it every other, like, I think it's one Friday a month for the foreseeable months. So they're waiving all fees. So I've got a white gatefold vinyl with a Ouija board that Deck designed.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'll try and contact Houdini through it.
Should do, but you don't know the password, so you'll never be sure.
Yeah. But I'm going to leave you to it, man. Thank you so much for chatting to us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well done on Merrick. It's so fucking good. As a fan as well, from reading the book, it's such a fucking cool thing to do. But,
thank you very much.
Keep going.
It's wild, isn't it? Yeah, cool.
It is crazy.
Yeah. Right, nice to see you. Nice to talk to you. Yeah, in a bit. Take it easy.
And there you have it, folks. That's episode 6 of Into the Van in the Bag. Thank you so much for listening. You know, this is always not something I take for granted, that people listen to me and, you know, spare an hour out of their day. That's truly something that matters to me. As a musician, I'm always thankful when people spend, 3 minutes listening to one of my songs. So for someone to take an hour out of their day to listen to me and my mates have a ramble is truly something we can't thank you enough for. If you want to support Tom Ward and his brilliant comic Merrick, the Sensational Elephant Man, you can go to merrickcomic.co.uk, merrickcomic.co.uk, Merrick Comic, and you can pick up the digital first issue completely free. And hopefully that is enough of a tease for you to pick up the rest of the issues. He's got paperbacks, individual issues, and it's definitely worth your time to check out. I also hope, if you want to, you can pre-order The Next Life, which is my upcoming record. And, tell your friends about this podcast, tell your friends about me, tell your friends about Tom, because word of mouth to me is still the most important thing. You can see sponsored adverts on Facebook, or you can have, a radio show promoting an artist, but how many times has that actually affected you and made you listen to an artist more than a friend or like or trust saying, hey, have you checked out this guy? You always check out what your friends say, or at least I do anyway, because if they're friends with me, they must have good taste. So they recommend me bands, I recommend them. We always recommend films, books, whatever. Word of mouth is still the most important thing. So tell your friends. Into the Van. We've got episode 7 in 2 weeks' time, and thank you so much for listening. Stay safe, guys. Peace.